House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Sergeant at Arms.
The House is now in session. All persons not entitled to privilege of the floor, please retire to the gallery.
The members will rise and be led in prayer by Reverend Dr. Jerome Barber, Senior Pastor, 6 Mount Zion Baptist Temple, Hampton, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which will be led by the delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Let us pray. God, we thank you for this day. It is the day that you have made, and we're rejoicing and glad in it. We thank you for the privilege to use our gifts and talents as servant leaders to serve the great Commonwealth of Virginia and to bring glory to you. I pray today's work will be approached with integrity and a spirit of service, seeking solutions that benefit all. Help us to set aside petty political differences and focus on the common good. May each debate be passionate but respectful and constructive, guided by a sincere desire to find the best path forward. Remind us, God, today of your priorities, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before you. Help us to turn the hard work of governance into heart work as we live and lead in love. Now may the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts, be acceptable in your sight, for you are our strength and our Redeemer. We, the people of God, seal this prayer with a strong amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hard work.
Safe travels home. The members will answer the roll call by indicating their presence on the electronic voting board.
Press your button. Press your button.
Clerk will close the roll.
Mr. Speaker, a quorum is present.
Pursuant to House Rule 3, I've examined and approved the Journal of the House of Delegates for January 15, 2025. Motions and resolutions under Rule 39 pursuant to the provisions of Rule 40 are now in order. Does the clerk have any announcements or communications?
No announcements or communications on my part. Therefore, in this first portion of the morning hour, pursuant to House Rule 40, the Speaker requests that you use your request to speak button for the agenda items listed for reference on the voting boards.
The delegate from Hampton, Delegate Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, today's prayer was given to us by the Reverend Dr. Jerome Barber, Senior Pastor of 6 Mount Zion Baptist Temple, a strong, growing congregation in Hampton. And he is Executive Director of the Sixth House Incorporated, a faith-based community organization. He was a native of Washington, D.C. He completed his secondary education in Maryland public schools. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in biology from Hampton Institute in 1981. He graduated with high honors as a distinguished military graduate, and he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. He received the rank of captain before leaving the Army in 1986. He has received numerous community awards, but he was conferred the Doctor of Divinity degree by the Eastern Theological Seminary during the 2001 commencement ceremony, where he now serves as chairman of the board of directors. Since July 2000, he's been involved in mobilizing the congregation of 6 Mount Zion Baptist Temple to take the gospel to the world. He actively engages each parishioner to find their unique gift and employ that gift to meet the needs of our local community. In addition, he has mobilized teams of United States pastors, medical professionals, educators, and youth to conduct revivals, crusades, Bible seminars, youth and women's conferences, workshops, and medical clinics throughout Kenya, Uganda, East Africa, South Africa, Haiti, London, and Brazil. Please join in welcoming my pastor, the Reverend Dr. Jerome A. Barber.
Welcome, Dr. Barber, and thank you for your service. The delegate from James City County, Delegate Batten.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of 2 introductions.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us in the gallery today are members of the Virginia Federation of Republican Women, and I ask them to please rise. The VFRW is an influential organization dedicated to empowering women across the Commonwealth to engage in political and civic leadership. Founded in 1930, the Federation has a rich history of advocating for conservative values and supporting Republican candidates at all levels of government. With over 1,000 members, the VFRW serves as a vital force in promoting leadership, policy education, and grassroots activism. Their commitment to strengthening our democracy through informed participation and service to their communities is a testament to their enduring impact on Virginia's political landscape. Please join me in giving them a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Torian. Oh, I'm sorry, she had 2 introductions. The delegate from James City County, Delegate Batten.
Also today, joining us in the gallery is Miss Virginia Teen, Cassidy Lee, and I ask her to please rise. Cassidy was born in Colorado and moved to Williamsburg, Virginia at the age of 6. She graduated from War Hill High School in Williamsburg in 2024, and she was also crowned Miss Virginia Teen USA in June of 2024. She showcased her talent as Miss Virginia Teen by performing a dance to Shoo Off from the Broadway musical The Drowsy Chaperone. Cassidy is actively involved with Operation Smile, supporting children with cleft conditions. Cassidy produced the podcast Every Smile Has a Story, highlighting personal stories related to cleft conditions, and she also created the Smile Sketchbook, a children's inclusive coloring book focused on cleft awareness, and I've been told that copies will be made available to members. Additionally, Cassidy participated in a surgical program in Paraguay, assisting in the care of children undergoing treatment for cleft lip and palate. Currently a freshman at the University of Alabama on a full scholarship made possible through the Miss Virginia Program Scholarship Program, Cassidy is pursuing a major in political science with the goal of becoming a news anchor. Please give Miss Virginia Teen a warm welcome.
Welcome, Cassidy. Spent some time in my office. The only problem is she is a student at the University of Alabama, and giggle Maggie's. It's all right. She came right in saying, "Roll Tide." And I'm like, whoa. The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Torian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for the purpose of a motion and an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having voted on the prevailing side by which we passed by H.R. 481 until Friday, January the 17th, I move to reconsider that vote.
All those in favor of Delegate Torian's motion to reconsider shall vote aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Torian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I request to call up out of order H.R. 481.
The clerk will report a resolution.
House Resolution number 481, commending Lawrence Douglas Wilder.
Delegate Torian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move the adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor of the adoption of House Resolution 481 shall say aye. All those opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Yes.
The delegate from Hanover,
Thank you.
Oh, and an introduction. I'm sorry. The delegate from Prince William. See, y'all doing too much today. The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Torian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, joining us in the House gallery today are members of CASA. And if you're present, please stand.
CASA is the largest national immigrant advocacy organization in the region with more than 150,000 immigrant Latinos and working class members. In the Commonwealth alone, CASA has over 11,000 members. They are strong and growing every day, especially in areas like my district in Prince William County. Just as they are doing today, CASA continues to make a positive impact on working class families by uplifting future generations through their advocacy on all levels of government. I ask that we would give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome, CASA. Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Hanover, Delegate Wyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I see in the gallery members from the Independent Automobile Dealers Association, and I would ask that they please rise. These Virginia independent auto dealers were organized and incorporated in 1960, but yet started meeting more than 15 years prior to that with a group of dealers from Norfolk, Virginia, to engage their legislator in automobile law and regulations. Their mission is to inform, educate, and represent independent dealers across the Commonwealth and work in cooperation with other organizations for the betterment of the industry and to make the Commonwealth a safer community for all. There are more than 3,400 independent auto dealers across our great state. At this time, I want to thank them for their dedication to industry and contributions to the Commonwealth, and I would ask members to please join me in giving them a very warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on behalf of Delegate McQuinn for the purpose of an introduction, a request, a motion, and an announcement.
See what I mean? See what I'm talking about? The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, for my introduction, today in the gallery, we have Miss Virginia 2024, Carlaire Swanson, if she could rise. Born and raised in Richmond. Born and raised in Richmond, she is deeply committed to making a meaningful impact in the communities that have shaped her life. Competing as Miss Blue Ridge, she was crowned Miss Virginia in 2024 at the Berglund Center in Roanoke on June 29, 2024, securing $22,500 in cash scholarships. In fact, during the last 10 years, she has won about $50,000 in scholarships through her participation in the Miss America and Miss America's Teen competitions. As an accomplished musician, Ms. Swanson showcased her talent by performing a piano and vocal rendition of a popular ballad in the Miss Virginia competition. She is currently a fourth-year PhD student at the University of Virginia, specializing in critical and competitive studies in music. She also holds a master's degree in critical and comparative studies in music from the University of Virginia, a master's in jazz vocal performance from the Frost School of Music at the University of Miami, and a bachelor degree in jazz studies from the great George Mason University. And there's more, Mr. Speaker.
I know that. That's why I was wondering why they were interrupting you. They didn't see that. Go ahead.
As Miss Virginia, Carlaire champions her community service initiative, Bridging the Divide, Music is Unity. The program was inspired in 8th grade by a visit to her grandmother's rehabilitation center, where she observed that many residents had no visitors to comfort them. Rather than simply feel the sadness of the circumstances, Ms. Swanson got to work. As an adult, she organized workshops to harness the transformative and connective power of music through free performances and educational programs focused on the noteworthy, even healing role of music in all of our lives. I hope it is the pleasure of our body to give her a warm house welcome.
Well, welcome, Miss Virginia. I was got to visit with both of these young ladies, and They're both very smart. And my takeaway was they showed me how to do my correct wave during parades. This is what I got.
Mr. Speaker, I still
You have more stuff.
We have more stuff. More business.
The overachiever from Alexandria,
Yes.
Delegate Herring.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take it as a compliment. Thank you. I request to call up out of order H.R. 483 on page 6 of today's calendar.
The clerk will report a resolution.
House Resolution number 483, commending Carlaire Swanson.
Mr. Speaker, I move the adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor of the adoption of House Resolution 483 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The resolution is adopted. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And you
Mr.
have more.
Speaker,
And you have more.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Speaker, now for my announcement, and then you'll be finished with me.
Never.
Tomorrow, on Friday the 17th, the Cancer Caucus will be meeting on the 9th floor House Subcommittee room from 8 a.m. until, I guess, we're done. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's it for me today. Thank you.
Promises. The delegate from Warren, Delegate Oates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction for myself and Delegate Wiley.
See that? Consistent today. The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery today are representatives from the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber of Commerce. If you would please rise so you may be recognized. The Chamber is known as the Voice for Business in Winchester, Clark, and Frederick counties. Established in 1917, the Chamber has served our region for 107 years. Every day, they live out their mission of connecting business and community resources for mutual success, fostering regional prosperity. The Chamber provides educational resources, programs, and services to established business owners, new businesses, and aspiring entrepreneurs alike. Mr. Speaker, I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge one of their top legislative priorities in coming to the Capitol today, I-81. Many members might remember the Chamber's iconic toy cars from the last session, serving as a reminder that transportation and business development go hand in hand. I am grateful for their advocacy work here in Richmond and back home in our district, and I ask that you join me in giving the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an announcement.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We all know that Virginia, with our 400-plus years of history, is incredibly special. This building is special. The work we do here as a part of what the world knows about legislative democracy from this body. But the history, the rich history of the Commonwealth is an example for the rest of the country and something we need to preserve. Today, with Delegate Runyon, I am proud to announce the creation of the Historic Preservation and Battlefield Preservation Caucus. Our rich history needs to be preserved, and we're losing a lot of our critical sites and property, and we want to be able to work with experts from museums and the American Battlefield Trust to talk about best practices for preserving our endangered properties and objects and historic sites, from Civil War sites to American Revolution sites to War of 1812 to the civil rights sites around the Commonwealth that need to be preserved for future generations. Anyone who's ever talked to me about this, historic land preservation and site preservation and object preservation is a win-win-win-win-win. We're able to preserve with land, we're able to preserve like clean air, clean water, safe drinking water, but also things like land conservation, economic development from tourism, and then also the teaching of real history. And so, with that, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to hand it over to Delegate Runyon for a quick moment.
Delegate from Rockingham, Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To add on a few words to the good delegate, he covered it very, very well. I want to share with you what I see as a personal story. Growing up in the Valley, I saw where there was very little attention to the preservation of a full discussion of history. And in the last 20 years, particularly in my home area of Rockingham and Augusta, we've seen a marked change in that. We've seen a focus of our community and our Commonwealth on understanding from colonial times to today the impact that those that have gone ahead of us and what they have done, good and bad, and what they've created, how that impacts and enriches our lives. So I am pleased to join with the delegate in offering an opportunity for all the rest of us to come out and visit these sites and enjoy and see what we have learned in the Commonwealth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Bennett Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we are joined by members of the Virginia chapter of the American Association of University Women. If they could please stand. AAUW is a nonpartisan statewide membership organization with 24 branches across the Commonwealth and approximately 1,000 members. They advocate for economic security for women and families, the importance of high-quality public education for all, and so much more. This year, the Virginia chapter is celebrating their 100th anniversary, and we are so grateful for their century of advocacy, fighting for equal pay for men and women teachers in the 30s, jury duty for women in the 40s, setting up tutoring groups in the face of closed schools due to massive resistance in the 50s, working for compulsory school attendance in the 60s, advocating for the Equal Rights Amendment in the 70s and beyond, supporting the inclusion of women at VMI in the 80s and 90s, and so much more. Please join me in giving the Virginia chapter of the American Association of University Women a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for two introductions.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Visiting with us today in the gallery, we have representatives from Huntington Ingalls Industries. If they will please stand. That is one of Virginia's Fortune 500 companies whose headquarters are in the amazing 85th District in Newport News. In its more than 138 years, HII has become a ship construction pioneer, advancing critical technologies with its more than 45,000 employees across several divisions. And its Newport News Shipbuilding Division is well known for building and maintaining the most complex vessels in the United States Navy's fleet, including aircraft carriers and submarines. And Newport News Shipbuilding is the largest industrial employer in Virginia with more than 26,000 shipbuilders. As the U.S. Navy's needs grow to focus on their ability to deter threats from abroad, the Commonwealth must continue to support our shipbuilders as they develop platforms critical to our national security interests and, most importantly, produce the vessels that are the homes and battle stations for our sailors and Marines. Equally significant is HII's 7,000-person-strong Mission Technologies Division based in Northern Virginia, which specializes in unmanned systems and cyber defense, among other items, all in support of our national security. The team at HII is dedicated to keeping us and the entire nation safe, and they are just as dedicated to building up their people as well. Their commitment to workforce development stands out with their apprenticeships, internships, and investments in K-12 and higher education. They equip future generations with the practical skills needed in advancing manufacturing and high-tech fields. I have seen firsthand their dedication to education in our community as they work to strengthen the talent pipeline and enhance the Commonwealth's competitiveness and rapidly evolving global marketplace. With such an amazing group here today, and for the great work they are doing to keep us safe, I hope it will be the pleasure of the House to give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome, Newport News Shipbuilding. Thank you. Welcome to the Capitol today.
And for
your second intro.
Thank
That's right.
you. And for my next introduction, Mr. Speaker, today we have with us the Virginia Community Violence Coalition in the gallery, if they will please stand. Mr. Speaker, community violence causes severe harm and trauma not just to the victims and their families, but to entire neighborhoods, communities, and regions. Some of the underlying causes of this violence include untreated trauma, prior exposure to violence, substance abuse, inequality, and the lack of access to quality health care and mental health services. Many of these conditions have been created and exacerbated by racist systems and policies that are incumbent upon us to dismantle. Cities that have successfully reduced community violence have used a holistic strategy that is both data-driven and community-centered. That is why the Virginia Community Violence Coalition has come together as a network of practitioners, advocates, policymakers, researchers, activists, and survivors who envision a Virginia where all people are safe to live and thrive, free from the threat of daily violence. They are dedicated to uplifting evidence-informed, community-based solutions to address community violence through a public health lens and committed to advocating for a meaningful investment in these solutions at the local, state, and national level. Mr. Speaker, their participating membership includes a long list that I am going to say. The VCU, we have VCU, Real Life, Gifford Center for Violence Intervention, Brady United, Everytown, Moms Demand Action, Community Justice, UVA Gun Violence Solutions Project, Equal Justice USA, Cities United, Health Alliance for Violence Intervention, the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, New Virginia Majority, Abu Unity Foundation, Riverside Health Hand in Hand Program, Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association, Resolution Virginia, Centera Foresight Violence Intervention Program, Rec League, CHKD Safer Futures Program, Kids on First Foundation, Virginia Victim Assistance Network, Rise for Youth, Women of Endurance, Safer Together Initiative, Friends of the Portsmouth Juvenile Court, the HEAP Foundation, Innova Safety Always for Everyone team, Central Virginia Violence Interrupters, and I'm sure there are even more. And Mr. Speaker, it was important for me, thank you for your indulgence, in listing them out because of how many people are in this coalition working together for a safer Virginia. So, for the great work that they are doing to help save lives, their commitment to safer communities, I would ask that we would give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Askew.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in the gallery we have the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association is a relentless force for the world of longer, healthier lives. Dedicated to ensuring equitable health in all communities, the organization has been a leading source of health information for more than 100 years, supported by more than 35 million volunteers globally. The association funds groundbreaking research, advocates for public health, and provides critical resources to save and improve lives affected by cardiovascular disease and stroke. By driving breakthroughs and implementing proven solutions in science, policy, and care, the American Heart Association works tirelessly to advance health and transfer lives every day. Also with us, we have two of their youth ambassadors, youth heart ambassadors. We have an 8-year-old who's in the gallery as well, who is a hypoplastic left heart syndrome survivor in 2024 American Heart Association Youth Health Ambassador. His condition means he has half of a heart and is more susceptible to cardiac emergencies as he grows older. He's had 3 open heart surgeries and 2 cardiac catheterizations, but uses his story of survival to encourage other young people and older people to live healthy lifestyles. We also have a 17-year-old high school senior who stands here today as someone who has lived with multiple heart defects since birth. She knows firsthand the importance of quick, knowledgeable responses to cardiac emergencies. She lives with knowing that her heart condition could turn into an emergency at any moment. For too many students like her, survival depends on not only chance, but also preparedness. If it be the will of the body, can they please give them a warm house welcome?
Welcome to the Capitol today. Pursuant to House Rule 30, the journal shall reflect that the following members are away on pressing personal business and are granted leave from today's session. Delegates Clark, Marshall, McQuinn. Clerk shall announce the next order of business.
Mr. Speaker, the second portion of the morning hour is not applicable given today's active calendar.
Clerk shall announce the next order.
Third portion of the morning hour, member requests for legislature goodbye for the day. I'm not aware of any such requests.
Clerk shall announce the next order.
Fourth and final portion of the morning hour, reserved for member requests for points of personal privilege. The Speaker asks that you use your request to speak button.
Clerk will call the cat. Oh, hold on. Damn, I was too slow. The delegate from Prince William, Delegate Maldonado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was waiting for our guests to arrive. I would like to ask if we could return to the first morning hour for 6 introductions. Just kidding. Just one. An announcement and an introduction, please, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate is out. No, the delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The announcement is for those delegates who signed up, Mindfulness at the Gab will meet tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. in room 819. And now on to the important introduction of my agenda here today. I am so pleased and honored to recognize the Allies for Housing Action, who is here with us in the General Assembly. I ask them to please rise. The Allies for Housing Action is made up of more than 50 advocates joining us today in the gallery. It's my privilege to introduce them, a coalition using organizing, education, research, and advocacy tools to empower tenants and their allies to build a commonwealth where all Virginians can access fair, high-quality, safe, and affordable housing. The Allies for Housing Action comprises more than 15 local, regional, and statewide organizations dedicated to advocating for better housing solutions. Their commitment to transformative housing policies is evident in their tireless efforts and strategic approaches toward tenant empowerment and housing justice. I appreciate their invaluable contribution to the well-being of communities across Virginia, and I'm so honored to recognize them today. I ask you to please give them a warm house welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Rockingham, Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today we get the opportunity to celebrate Religious Freedom Day here in the Commonwealth, and it's not a small thing. We would be remiss not to look back and honor our proud history of protecting the individual liberty of those to be secure in their conscience. We would be remiss not to honor of our proud legacy of defending individual liberty and preserving the sacred right of freedom of conscience. Mr. Speaker, here in this great Commonwealth, the American tradition of religious freedom was arguably born, which served as a model for the Western Hemisphere. It was born of men like Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and James Madison, all proud Virginians. It was Madison who made clear that one's most sacred piece of property is not something that money buys. No, it is our individual conscience. It is in this conscience that it compels him to do which is right. No government, no bureaucrat, no elected official is to stand between one and their conscience. It is in this tradition of religious liberty that has made Virginia the state we know today. In Jefferson's Statute of Virginia's Statute for Religious Freedom, which was passed through this very body 239 years ago, that has given us the liberties that we cherish so dearly. However, this liberty is not without controversy, Mr. Speaker. It is not without its adversaries. Mr. Speaker, the cornerstone of this Commonwealth is directly under fire today. Today, we've departed from our founding principles. We have strayed from our guiding light. Some would like to see their partisan agenda prevail at the cost of the conscience of others. Mr. Speaker, the conscience is the most sacred of possessions, and it should be safeguarded at all costs. Today, we think about parents homeschooling their children for religious freedoms who risk losing that right because of legislation that sits before us today. And we will hear later this very day. Today, I think about what far cry we are from infamous words Madison said when he declared, "We maintain, therefore, that in matters of religion, no man's right is abridged by the institution of civil society, and that religion is wholly exempt from its cognizance." Today, we reflect and remember that religious freedom is the cornerstone upon which this Commonwealth was born. A tolerance of religion, a belief that it's not the job of the government to tell you or I we are or aren't to worship. It is my hope today, Mr. Speaker, that we once again can recall and return to the principles that built this Commonwealth. It is my hope that you and I will not look down and try to cram the dictates of our conscience and attempt to transcribe them onto the conscience of others. No, today it is my hope that today we rediscover the tradition of religious freedom that has made Virginia so special. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Delegate from Culpeper, Delegate Freitas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All right, I don't want to sickles this up. I request we return to the first morning hour for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor. You didn't sickles it up. Sickles is a verb now. You didn't sickles it up.
Apologize to my colleague. Mr. Speaker, with us today in the Capitol and hopefully in the gallery are students from Woodbury Forest. If they are in the gallery, I would ask them to stand. Woodbury Forest is an institution in all of Virginia, but especially in my district in Madison County. It is one dedicated to training young men from all over the world to be the future leaders, not just here in Virginia and the United States, but in countries all over the world. I have to say there's also been a special connection with my family as they have an incredible theater department, and they have young girls come to try out for the female parts because they haven't gone full Shakespeare yet. But I got to tell you, as a father, it was a little bit terrifying taking my two daughters, who I love very much, to an all-boys school in order to participate in their theater program. But they were gentlemen, which is good for both my daughters and for them. And I also get invited once a year to go and speak to their civics class to discuss issues of government. And I have to say, the questions that I get asked and the grillings I sometimes receive give me a great deal of hope for our future. So if we could all please welcome the students and faculty from Woodbury Forest.
Welcome, Woodbury Forest. Welcome to the Capitol. Delegate from Sussex, Delegate Washman. Wax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also ask that we continue on with first morning hour for the purposes of an introduction.
You didn't sickles it up either. The delegate has the floor.
All right, thank you. It's my great pleasure I noticed up in the gallery some of my friends and colleagues. I'd like to introduce one of our community colleges in our Virginia Community College system. It's Paul D. Camp Community College. They opened in 1971 and service Southampton, Suffolk, Isle of Wight County. And since its founding, nearly 50,000 Virginians have taken courses at Camp Community College. As a matter of fact, I believe my daughters have probably taken classes there as well, too. They've awarded over 2,400 degrees, 1,200 certificates, and 950 career study certificates. In addition, the college has provided thousands of high school students with dual enrollment opportunities through their dual enrollment program. And at this time, I hope that my colleagues will present a warm house welcome to our friends from Paul D. Camp Community College. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome, Paul D. Camp. Welcome to the Capitol. The clerk will call the calendar.
Mr. Speaker, today the calendar for the Virginia House of Delegates this Thursday, January 16th, 2025. Page 1, first category, commending resolutions laid on the Speaker's table. Senate Joint Resolution 277, commending Lawrence Douglas Wilder, is now before the body.
All those in favor of adopting the commending resolution laid on Speaker's table as listed on page 1 of the calendar will say aye. All those opposed say nay. The resolution is agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, that is the only active portion of today's calendar as we continue to get underway. So that completes today's business.
Per House Rule 51, the House has returned to the morning hour. Does the clerk have any additional announcements or communication?
No communication, simply the meeting schedule, which is online and is as follows. The Committee on Labor and Commerce will be meeting a half hour after adjournment in House Committee Room A down in the lower level. Once the full committee's finished, Labor and Commerce's subcommittee number 2 will be meeting, and then immediately upon adjournment of that subcommittee, Labor subcommittee number 3 will be meeting. So Labor and Commerce in the lower level, and then 2 of its subcommittees, 2 first, then 3. Also a half hour after adjournment, the Committee on General Laws will be meeting. They'll be up on the second floor in House Room B. Half hour after adjournment, and then once they are finished, The Housing and Consumer Protection Subcommittee of General Laws will meet, and then 2 hours after adjournment of the full committee, or once the other subcommittee is finished, the General Laws, Professions, Occupation, Administrative Process Subcommittee will meeting. So General Laws and 2 of its subcommittees, all on the second floor in House Room B. At 4 o'clock, Health and Human Services, Social Services Subcommittee. They will be meeting at 4 o'clock in House Committee Room C on the second floor. Public Safety Firearms Subcommittee, they're also meeting at 4. They'll be in the House South Subcommittee Room, which is a change to that room, which is up on the second floor, obviously, in the GAB. And that completes the legislative business that I'm aware of for this afternoon. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Friday, January 17th, County, City, and Towns Subcommittee number 3. They will be meeting bright and early at 7 a.m. in House Committee Room B on the second floor. Also, the Committee on Finances, Subcommittee number 3, they're going to be meeting at 7 a.m. They'll be in the House South Subcommittee Room. The Cancer Caucus, I think was mentioned previously, they'll be meeting at 8 o'clock in House Subcommittee Room up on the 9th floor. Public Safety, the full Committee on Public Safety is meeting at 8 a.m. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow in House Committee Room A down in the lower level. Privileges and Elections is meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the House Committee Room C on the second floor. County, Cities, and Towns, they are meeting at 9 tomorrow. They'll be in House Committee Room B next door. And then, since we're going in at noon tomorrow, the Democratic Caucus will meet at 11 o'clock, and the Republicans are meeting at 11:30. Democrats in House Room 1, Republicans in House Room 2. This and all the other announcements are up on the meeting schedule. That completes all the announcements I have, sir.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Friday, 7 a.m., Finance Committee number 3 will not be meeting. Thank you.
We'll update the calendar accordingly. Thank you.
Delegate rises for the purpose of an announcement.
My deep apology, Mr. Speaker. With due respect, I rise for an announcement.
We got kids here. We got to set the right example. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that when the House adjourned today, it adjourned to reconvene tomorrow at 11 a.m. 12 a.m. My script
Delegate
said
from
11.
Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
My script.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourn to reconvene tomorrow at 12 noon. As many in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House do now adjourn. Also come to order. This 30 seconds is not going to make your day. The delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House do now adjourn. As many in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The House stands adjourned until tomorrow at 12 noon.